Hello, Aquarius. I hope that you are all doing well. We are here with a timeless reading. Before we get started, let's set the intention for this to be a space where everyone allows themselves to feel seen and validated, and ultimately for this to be a safe space and a healing space in alignment with the highest good. Okay, so what I'm seeing going on right now is that there's something personally that you're working with that may feel a bit, maybe you're feeling some pressure right now. There are a lot of there are varying degrees of how this can come through. For some of you, it can feel like pressure. For some of you, it can feel like stress. For some of you, there's something that you're worried about. It could be feeling like a sense of overwhelm. For others of you, it can be something where you feel like you're not maybe completely at peace with something, or maybe not completely sure of something. So again, like varying degrees sort of stress or anxiety, something like that. And that doesn't mean that this is a constant thing. It can be something that you're sort of working with right now, where like sometimes you feel like you're fine, and then other times this is sort of popping up for you. Okay, I'm seeing something that you've been working on. This is something that you would at this point be like getting some sort of result. It even seems like you don't have that much longer before this is complete. This Eight of Pentacles particularly, see how this person, this is the Fountain Tarot deck for those of you that are curious. See how this person has like this one last piece that's going to go on there, and then this thing is going to be complete. The Eight of Pentacles speaks about a person that's like well practiced with something that they're doing, and it's somebody that could be considered like a professional at this point. They know what they're doing. It's not like the Fool where it's like, I don't know what I'm doing here, or there's like a really big learning curve. This is like a well-practiced energy. I'm also seeing the Ace of Cups too, so I'm seeing you use like your pure raw talents that you have for this as well. So something is about to complete. I'm hearing major. I'm also hearing matriarch. I wonder how this Ace of Cups is integrated into this. You feel very connected. We're just going to call this the work that you're doing, and this can be like within your personal life, it can be at your job, it can be like a social thing going on. But I'm saying work, meaning like the thing that this thing you've been putting a lot of concentrated effort into and energy. I'm seeing something very organized here. Like, it doesn't feel like it's something that's all over the place. This feels like something cohesive. And Ace of Cups is something that you're like pouring your love into this. It really means a lot. I'm seeing something that there's definitely like this light shining in this person's eye. It feels like on the verge of satisfaction of completing something. That's not to say this hasn't been difficult. I'm just seeing you also be very good at what you're doing, even if you may question that at times. I'm seeing like fine craft work in whatever area of life this is that you apply this. Okay, I'm seeing things get a little bit windy, though, we can say. Maybe you feel like you're being pushed around a little bit, back and forth. This is an internal thing. It's not an external thing. I'm hearing the word dove. Okay. What I am understanding so far, we have Eight of Pentacles, Ace of Cups, Five of Wands, Eight of Cups. What I'm getting is that you're about to complete something that really matters to you, and this is definitely something that comes from the heart. What I'm also seeing is that there may have been something simultaneously that's been going on for you. I don't know if this is like two separate things. Well, they're all going to be connected anyway. moving forward to the point, what I'm seeing is that something had been going on that you'd maybe felt was kind of like pulling you in different directions. But what I'm seeing is that you're recognizing that if something is aligned with your path, it's not going to pull you in different directions. And that it's something that just needs to be sorted through. And I'm seeing you working through that and recognizing, oh, if this is pulling me away from that thing over there, it's not aligned. And I'm seeing you're going to move past that because you know that it's not right for you anymore. It's like, it's not aligned with what you're doing. Like the higher part of what you're doing, we can say, because there is a hierarchy to this. Because you could choose to align to this like conflict, or you could be in a space where you're like, oh, it's conflict that I'm experiencing here, and that's because it's not compatible with the bigger picture of what I have going on. And so, oh, that means like that's not meant for me to be doing that anymore. So I'm seeing something that you're moving on from. But I am getting that this is a bit of I'm hearing an emotional clause. So more than anything, even though there may be legwork that needs to be done or like choices or whatever, I'm seeing this more be like an emotional process than it is anything for you. So that may have been, it's like coming to terms with this, that like, oh, I'm not needed here anymore, or like this isn't in alignment for me, like whatever narrative this is that you tell yourself of giving yourself permission to sort of like continue moving on from something. It's, you look at this and you're like, this isn't working. And you also know that it's like the pieces don't fit together anymore. That's what I'm seeing this situation be like for you. There's a situation where you're like, oh, these pieces don't fit together anymore. They may have worked in the past because it was compatible, but now it's not aligned with your path anymore, so it doesn't like click into place. And you're like, oh, that means that I'm not supposed to be here anymore. Like I'm meant to move forward. Okay, and I'm seeing we go from 8 of Cups to the 9 of Cups. So that's you thinking about like deeply what's resonating with you internally. So this is amazing. This is definitely a bit of a challenge to do, because even when you know something's not right anymore, it still can be difficult to move away from it. Humans are creatures of habit. I like to use this example. We can be sometimes finding ourselves in a cardboard box and knowing that we're like moving into some place that's like even a dream or a fantasy of ours to like move somewhere else, right? Within our lives, it can be with like a job or with a relationship or with like a move or whatever it is. And we can still like mourn that loss of the cardboard box because we found comfort in it, even though we know that we're moving on to something that's going to resonate with us more fully. So that's what I'm seeing is happening here. And I'm seeing this be very connected with your joy. I'm seeing that be a big motivator for you, like what you internally feel aligned with. On that basis. This means too that you're going from something that feels empty. See this 8 of Cups? How this 8 of Cups, it's like the cups are cleared out. You're stepping into the 9 of Cups. So it's like walking away from the thing that's emptied out more. It's like trying to drink from something where there's like no more liquid left in it. And so you're like, oh, I'm not going to get anything from that. So I move out. And then you come here where like all the cups are full. And that's the point of this. You transition like out of this, and it's all a cycle. You transition out from this to go to this next thing where all the cups are full. And then it happens like again and again and again. You know, it's a constantly like ever moving cycle that you find yourself within. I'm also seeing the 6 of Cups. So this is also, there may be like a lot of past memories that are coming up for you that you've been experiencing. Like this can feel a bit nostalgic. I'm getting like things popping up, like as you're waking up in the morning, you can be having dreams. It's like when you're in the shower, these things are coming to you, but I'm seeing there be more of a peace about it rather than some sort of resounding feeling of anything else. So this thing that you feel like you're on the verge of completing and that you're going to be continuing forward from, because it's like time for the next part of this, I'm seeing it feel very, it brings up a lot of past stuff for you. And that's not to say it's like a negative thing. And I mean, what is negative anyway? It would kind of feel like something that's like pulling on you or draining you to take away would be negative. What I'm seeing is that you may have like actually a lot of fond memories that are coming up for you. It's not to say all of them are, but I feel like something is now being put in its place, maybe tucked away where it's meant to be, that you feel like you can, yeah, put something away now. For some of you too, you have something coming up with family as well that feels significant for you. Wow, yeah, here we are. Ace of Swords and the Fool. So this is something new that you're going to be doing, jumping into. I'm seeing you be very clear on your direction. I'm not seeing this be a question at all. There's like no doubt here. I'm also seeing there be such a deep desire for truth. This does feel like a major shedding of skin as well. To have Six of Cups and the Ace of Swords, this is like, I can review my history and I can see it from a very clear, like, whole grounded perspective, where there may not be all of the things attached to it that were attached before, where you can sit in more of an observant place of these things rather than a judgmental space of them. And this, I'm seeing, feels like a very new perspective for you, and also one that feels like an accomplishment as well. I'm seeing you like have really stepped out of your ego, out of that being like the driving narrative for you. Because I will say this too, like, the ego isn't bad, the ego serves a purpose. If we had no ego, we would have, like, no will to, like, survive in our human bodies, and so the ego is always going to be there. It's not something that you, like, transcend, you know, it's something that you learn how to integrate. Everything is about integration, getting everything to all work together. What I'm seeing is that rather than you identifying with the ego, there's this identifying with, like, the witness, we can say, the part of you that's just observing and not judging and being like, so I see how that was like that, and I understand this over here, and just like going back into tapping into these memories and these experiences and these past exchanges that you have, and just like witnessing them and understanding that they're popping up for a reason, and also that it's relevant to where you are now too. And I'm just seeing you be maybe feeling more clear-minded than you have in a very, very, very long time. I'm seeing you be very, very level. I'm hearing instrumentally. And I like this card too with the Fool. You see how it's like this young child over here, like dancing around and stuff. There's a sense of innocence with this, and it feels very much like a renewal or a rebirth even with this card specifically. The energy with it is kind of like, it feels very much like a clean slate. In the past, you could have looked back on these past things and held regret and like any other thing that you could have been holding on to that you didn't want to, what's the best way to say this? Before you got to this place where you are now, if you had like remembered these things that you experienced, it may not have been a particularly pleasant experience at all times. And now I'm seeing there be a very different perspective that you're looking at these things from. So I'm not seeing you holding on to any emotional baggage here. I'm seeing this really genuinely feel like a clean slate for you, and I'm seeing your perspective be very clear because of that as well. Like, I'm seeing your third eye be completely cleared out here. like all of the pieces really coming together. Like a very, very wise viewpoint of things. There's also a recognition of why you had been manifesting what you had been manifesting as well, and how like your perception and your beliefs were also I'm hearing indicative of what you were manifesting. I'm seeing the Devil and the Magician. This is like because of our attachments and the things that we're not willing to let go of, and like an unwillingness to accept like the fleeting nature of things, we create, it's like we create more and more quicksand that we fall into, and that's what we're constantly manifesting. So the cycles get deeper and deeper and deeper, which also has a purpose within itself too, because the deeper you get into the cycles, the more you're going to have to kind of like pull yourself out of that. And there's so much that you learn within the process as well. So because of how deep you got into the cycles, it's like more experience and more wisdom that became available for you to gain through the things that you've gone through. And now I'm seeing you have like a different take on things. I'm also seeing you really reorient. Like before, you could have thought that something materialistically was going to be a fulfilling factor for you, and then I'm seeing there be this recognition of it being something like far beyond that, and it's like this internal compass that you're going with now. So that attachment that you had to things materially, I'm seeing that also be something that you are leaving behind as well. That's not to say completely, but it's to say that however something materially had been like ruling your life before, and you could have felt even like a slave to that, I'm seeing things really change here for you. Where rather than thinking that something materially, something fleeting is going to be that fulfillment for you, there's more of a focus on like internally, like what's that driving force? What do I feel inspired by? What brings me joy and happiness? Rather than feeling like you're being controlled by things, allowing yourself to be, because nothing outside of you can control you unless you allow that. But nothing in itself can. You always have to give permission in order for that to happen. So yeah, make sure, just seeing the Devil and the Magician here, be very mindful of what you're focused on manifesting. Like ask yourself, when you think about it, like what do I want to manifest in my life? What do I want to experience? Ask yourself why. What is the purpose for that? What is motivating that desire? Because it can be something that really sucks you in and sort of veils your perspective. So it's something to be mindful of. It looks like it's so interesting, the dichotomy that I'm seeing here, because I'm getting this like this liberation from the past that's happening, but also to have the Devil and the Magician too can mean that there's still something mentally going on for you that you may be fixated on at times. But the Devil is also considered part of the Maya, part of the illusion. And so this is something as well that you may be realizing. It kind of takes away your mental autonomy, we can say. And that's what I'm seeing you be in the midst of working out for yourself. But I'm seeing this be a very, very deep challenge that you're working with currently. So this is like really extricating yourself from this. this is like mastery over your mind. So rather than having it be drifting away, this is about keeping it where you wanted. It's like being able to focus on a single point as well, meaning being able to be like completely present. Single pointedness. And to not, it's about also not allowing these subconscious aspects of your ego to be manifesting something, because we're like these fractal beings, right? And so we have all of these different pieces within us. Some of them we've learned to integrate, some of them kind of work in a way that's still in the shadows, and that's part of our subconscious energy. What I'm seeing is at this point, you are completely like making this big effort to deprogram everything that had been programmed in, that you don't want to be a running program anymore mentally for you, with the devil and the magician. Because the devil is like corporeal, the devil is the 3D, the devil, it represents Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. This is like hard, dense matter. It's like the physical stuff, the material that you see around you. The magician represents Mercury, and Mercury is your mind. It's how you're thinking, it's your beliefs, it's how you are creating your reality. It's what's going on here and how it's projected out there. And it can be the ways that like materialism, even in the slightest of ways, or like societal standards, or the way that society is, can kind of pull us into these networks that we're now learning we can pull ourselves out of. Again, extricate ourselves from this. I'm seeing freedom really be on your mind here. It's like this like webbing, or like a, yeah, like a web that you had been in before, that I'm seeing you pull out of. See how these people, there's like this netting or this webbing, and they're like pulling out of it. This is how I'm seeing the like extricating be. And then you're realizing that rather than like the world happening to you and you not having control and like all of those things, there's a paradigm shift here that's happening where you're realizing that you are the creator. But before, you may not have felt like that. And that's what I'm seeing be the challenge. It's like this integration here that's happening, where there's this deprogramming and this remembering that's happening. Yeah, we have the Nine of Wands, which is like the current challenge that you're facing, which you are very close to completing because it's a 9. And then we have the High Priestess. This is you. And this is that remembering. It's also very important as well to keep in mind that you did not waste time doing anything. I keep seeing the Five of Cups, and the Five of Cups can be like sadness or regret, or like I should have recognized this sooner, stuff like that. You have awoken and always been on track. You have been in the place that you needed to be in at all times. The things that you went through, the things that happened, the things that you did, it was all necessary. There was nothing that should have happened sooner or should have happened later, or if only I did this or didn't do that, or if this person, whatever. All of it is perfect. All of it. So there's really nothing to regret, because it would have changed the trajectory of things, and you are on the divine trajectory. So there's nothing that you needed to know sooner. You know everything as soon as you need to know it. You remember everything as soon as you need to. You activate when you are meant to activate. You upgrade when you're meant to upgrade. This has also been a journey as well for you to really get in touch with your intuition in a way that's maybe your intuition, your psychic abilities, that's a lot deeper than maybe you had initially thought you had access to or remembered that you had access to. But I'm seeing that your trust and reliance on the high priestess, which is like this aspect of your higher self, I'm seeing that's really what's helping you move through everything and do so successfully to be able to yield the results that you want to. Yeah, Six of Wands here. So this shows that with you relying on your higher self and all of the ways that you tap into and connect with your higher self, it helps you transcend obstacles. And then Six of Wands is you successfully overcoming, especially to have the Chariot and the Six of Wands. Chariot is sort of like your strategy for being able to move through something, to traverse something, and then Six of Wands is like that accomplishment and that success and that victory of actually having like crossed the finish line. What a journey. A beautiful, beautiful journey. This cycle and these multiple like intersecting and intertwining cycles that you've been in simultaneously, I'm seeing something very, very big that is nearly completed. This has also all been like bringing you back to spirit as well, I'm seeing, and connecting with the divine wisdom within you. And that's really all it took, was this self-trust and self-remembering and desire to. I'm seeing also like the game's not over yet, you know, like we're still here, we're still working through it. There's still like patience that's needed and taking your time, but I get kind of this I'm hearing the word solemnity. I'm getting this calmness that you can now access and tap into within you that maybe you didn't feel before. Maybe it felt like a mad dash or some sort of panic even as you were moving through this process. And now I'm seeing something be like much more underway here. There's a lot of growth through the experience that you have, where I'm getting a very well-seasoned energy for you, where even though you're still going through these cycles of like death and rebirth and growing and changing and moving and shaking and doing all this stuff that you're doing, I'm seeing there be like more of a constant that you feel you can tap into within you, that you know like nothing can take away from you. And I'm seeing it be like very reassuring for you. And it's your connection with yourself, it's your connection with spirit, it's this like deep self-trust that you have. So what I'm getting is that there's like something majorly from your past, from maybe like multitudes of your past, that I'm seeing you are on the verge of completing. So it's kind of like this. I feel like there's a better way to describe this, but this is like this is the best way that I can describe what I'm seeing. It's kind of like you had overdue homework, even though it wasn't overdue. But you may have perceived this as sort of like overdue homework from the past that needed to be made up so you could catch up to where you needed to be. And I'm seeing all of that be happening here, so you can catch up to the present moment. So all this like past homework that needed to be completed, I'm seeing you be like about to do like the final paper. So everything that needed to be integrated from the past, but I'm seeing you be at this point where it's like, this is the hardest part of all of it before like the final integration happens. And that's where I'm seeing you be right now. And I'm seeing the Ace of Cups, the Ace of Swords, and the High Priestess. So this is that like renewed and cleared out heart chakra. This is like also your third eye and your throat chakra being cleared out and like completely fully like activated and functioning and moving properly. And then the High Priestess is this like deep knowing within you that's being activated that connects you with your higher self. So you just have this relay where you don't have to be fishing for it. It's just there. I'm seeing it definitely feel like a struggle because this is like a new way of doing things. It's requiring many leaps of faith for you to do things in a way that's not the norm for you. But what I'm seeing is that in you really trusting this process and keeping your heart as open as possible and allowing for the slate to truly be wiped clean, it's helping you traverse every obstacle in your way successfully. I'm seeing there is a little bit of residue still of what you are stepping away from, because again, it's like that vibe of the cup is empty here. Like as much as you try to pour it in your mouth, because the cups are empty, nothing is going to come out. So there's this recognition of, oh, that thing was just an attachment. And the illusion of the devil is like, no, keep trying. Maybe one day liquid's going to come out of it. And this is that realization that, oh, I'm accepting this for what it is, and that means that I'm freeing myself of this. I'm liberating myself from this illusion that it's something, anything other than what it is. And that's where I'm seeing like the real success and victory be. 9 of Cups speaks about your wish fulfillments, your happiness, your gratitudes, and it's also this energy of like reinstating this thing within you where you're like, I don't need to hold on to that thing because I can manifest like what I actually want to experience now, or maybe what's going to feel more fitting for me in my path. And then the Hierophant is like this divine wisdom now that you have access to, that you are applying. And Temperance on the bottom of the deck is you being patient with this process as you're moving through it and giving it time and just sticking with this and seeing it through, because I'm seeing you be at the precipice of a very major completion. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everybody for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm wishing everybody love and light and healing, and I hope to catch you guys next time.